Just click start streaming.
Oh my
Wait
gosh.
for that little dot to say we're online.
Alright.
It's starting.
Alright.
You're on YouTube right now? Do you have a link on Facebook right now?
No. All right. It says we're live now. I'm gonna post we're live, real quick, in this Discord
Awesome.
and edit this part out once the live stream's done.
I'm gonna go put in the Ben 10 Prime 5 years later thing that we're streaming right now.
All right, sounds good. All right, so guys, welcome to the first official live stream podcast called Off Script. I'm Kuro the artist. I'm here with both of my co-workers on 5 years later. We call ourselves the Ink Tank Crew for now. We're working on a copyright for that. I'll let them introduce ourselves. Alex, you can go first.
Hi, I am Alex. I'm also known as the Insane Dude 24 on most of my public profiles.
Hold on one second. Hurshie. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Sorry, you can continue. I was confused.
I'm a artist known prominently for Ben 10 fan work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alex is known as the Insane Dude 24 on a lot of his different social medias. He's on DeviantArt. He's on Instagram. He's frequent on Discord a lot too. If you guys have ever seen some of his work is actually really popular in the Ben 10 fandom. And then we also have my manager and also a story contributor, Hurshie. You can say
Oh,
hello,
hi.
Hurshie. Yep.
That's me, Hershey, aka Hershey Lee, but that's adding one word. And that's mainly what I do,
Yes.
aside from other things. And it's nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So what we're going to do during this broadcast is we're going to talk about our thoughts on the original Ben 10 series. We're going to do we're going to pretend when the stream comes that we've just been streaming the whole time. All right, so I clicked start streaming.
Do I need to mute the video because I hear like a delay?
Yeah. Dude.
Start streaming. All right, so it says it's live. So I think we're back. So in post, I'm going to edit all of this out. So let's pretend like none of that ever happened and start the stream over again. So what's up, guys? I'm Kuro the artist. Thank you for the first ever broadcast of the Off Script podcast. I'm here today with my two Ink Tank crew members, Hurshie and Alex. We all work together on the 5 years later comic. And for this stream, we're going to be talking about our thoughts on the first Ben 10 series, as well as editing this picture of Cannonbolt, just so there's something for you guys to look at. So I'll let Alex and Hurshie introduce themselves, give a little background on their work, and when they first became a Ben 10 fan. So whoever wants to go first, feel free to take charge.
Alex, rock, paper, scissors, or should I just volunteer you?
I guess I'll just go. I'm Alex, the Insane Dude 24, as you all know. I'm not to, talk super highly of myself. I'm pretty prominent in the Ben 10 community. I do a lot of fan art, fusions, stuff like that. I guess what got me interested in Ben 10 in the first place is when I was 5 years old, I just stumbled across the first episode. And when I saw Ben turn into Heat Blast for the first time, I thought that concept was really, really interesting. And I just got sucked into it like immediately. And ever since, I've just loved and obsessed over just the whole series.
Sounds like a nice introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, it's inspirational.
How did you become a Ben 10 fan?
Well, I became a Ben 10 fan. Basically, I'm pretty sure they did promotions when they first, started the whole thing. And seeing the promotion, I was like, wow, that looks really cool. Then we get to see the premiere. It's like, I've never seen anything like this before. And this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like, I want to see what happens. I want to know what the watch is. I want to know where it came from. And since then, I've just been a huge fan, sticking to the story ever since.
That's what's up. Thank you. So before I say my answer, I just wanted to say for the people just joining in, We're gonna be this is gonna be about an hour long. We're gonna review Ben 10 for about a half hour. Just the first series. We're gonna do one podcast per series. We'll do Alien Force next, and then during the second half hour we will do Q&A. So please hold all of your questions for now, because we're not taking any. And if you want to ask something and you ask right now, it might get lost in the comments. So please hold all questions for now. So I first became a Ben 10 fan actually pretty late into the franchise. Well, not super late. The first episode I saw was A Small Problem. For those who don't know it, that's the one where Ben gets stuck as gray matter the entire episode. And looking back now, that's one of the most boring episodes ever. But it was the first one I saw, and it was enough to get me hooked. I loved it. Then to promote the Season 2 finale at the time, Back with a Vengeance, the one where Kevin 11 and Vilgax teamed up, they did a marathon of every episode that aired so far. So I watched that marathon to catch up. And then since then, I saw every episode as it came out and just obsessed over it. It was definitely a big part of my childhood. So, let's start with our favorite things about the show. Let's go into a bit of detail here. Like what really draws you into the show? What makes you excited to be a fan?
Me personally, excited to be a fan because when you come into something like this, and I've never just had something that I've been so passionate about, like knowing things about it, invested in the time that I spent knowing things about it and all of that. You just realize that there's so much to it and that they've built a whole universe. Every character has depth and every character has development. There's names for the races, technology, and everything involved. And it all comes together across 3 or 4 different shows and movies and things like that. And it's just an amazing concept done right and was pretty much taken care of pretty well to Omniverse. And, you know, I can just really appreciate that.
What about you, Alex?
What was the question again?
What do you really like about Ben 10 in like a lot of detail?
Oh God, what don't I like? I really love the creature designs. I loved the transformations, especially in OS. That's what got me hooked in the first place. I really just enjoyed a lot of the writing. I enjoyed the adventures and the villains that they encountered. It was just really interesting.
What kind of villains would really stand out to you in the franchise?
Well, I'd say Dr. Animo was always really prominent. Like besides Vilgax, of course, I was really interested in Animo because I just liked the idea of this mad scientist character basically creating large mutated animals and making like an army out of them. And then later on, in Dr. Animo and the Mutant Ray, when that implemented both fusing animals with aliens, it was also aliens with aliens. And I loved that concept, which is kind of how I got my start.
Yeah, that was a very good concept. Fun piece of trivia. This was considered lost media, as it was one of those pop-up episodes that no one seems to find records of. Dr. Animo was actually inspired to continue his evolution work when he saw Ben's aliens on the news from the first episode. So technically, Dr. Animo was really inspired to do his like evil mutations and all of that because of Ben. So that's like an example of creating your own villain.
Mm-hmm.
The hero creates the villain.
That's also a really good concept.
I would probably say, even though he was the main villain, Vilgax, the classic series specifically, did an amazing job with Vilgax. Especially going back and watching the first series, how they were like seeding him in and no one really knew who he was, like through the visions. They didn't really do that after the he was revealed. There wasn't really a point, but still, like he would create visions inside of Ben's head, saying like, "I'm coming for you." It really made the payoff at the end of the first season feel very worth the speculation and the wait and excitement.
Absolutely.
What about what would you say some of the weaker points of the original series were?
Plotline
Hurshie, you want to go?
consistencies. It's one that I always think about is as far as Grandpa Max and Verdona goes, the spark with Gwen, is it magic? Is it alien? I kind of wish that they were more consistent about that. And if any of you guys want to clear something up, about it for me, that would be really nice. But what do you guys think?
With that specifically, I like to think of it as this, like magic is sort of like the way that people who aren't Anodites are able to manipulate like mana fields or ki or whatever you want to call it, chakra, the energy inside you. Ben 10 uses the term mana. Anodites are pretty much made up of that stuff, and people from Ledger Domain like Charmcaster and Hex sort of tapped into that, like, I don't know, Speed Force, for lack of a better sort of Speed Force of magic. I like to think they coexist together, but with Gwen, it felt kind of inconsistent with what she was able to do, because sometimes it was just a matter of like she would read out of her spell book in the original series, and just like she would say the spell and not really know what it does, and boom, it would work. Whereas like other times she would like need to understand it and perform some type of like concentration, so there wasn't really any rhyme or reason to how it worked until much later, which we'll talk about in a future podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say
No, you go ahead.
a weaker point for the series, I feel like, is some of the dialogue. It's very dated. It's just you can tell it's made during the early 2000s with some of the choices that they made, and just the constant bickering between Ben and Gwen were not only needless, but it was really like sometimes you can understand where they're coming from, but other times it just became like it just made Gwen look like an annoyance rather than a form of help for Ben, like not a sidekick, but a partner.
I can feel that. That's actually something I really enjoy about the reboot. Is like they still don't really get along too well, but Gwen is more supportive of Ben. Because I actually had a job working with children at a summer camp for a while, and the way I would see like the kids interact with each other, the way kids interact now, very much matches up with the way Gwen and Ben interact in the reboot. It feels a lot more natural, whereas like I feel like kids were more prone to bicker, like Gwen and Ben would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my mic is very low. I'm unable to fix it now. I thought we fixed it when we did the test, but I guess not. I'm literally like lips pressed against it right now, trying to make sure people can hear me. But anyway,
please
like,
press them closer.
Oh yes. The way Gwen and Ben interacted in the original series probably matched up better to 2000s generation, like the 90s kind of kids, which I can understand.
Yeah.
But it
was more of a.
It was,
sorry.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna reiterate what you were saying with your point. It did feel like it ate up a lot of the time on screen. It was kind of unnecessary, and it wasn't even that like funny to watch. It was more of just like, yep, they're bickering because that's who they are.
Yeah, and sometimes like with the reboot, it can make it sort of funny, like it. But the problem with the whole bickering thing is that it kind of makes them feel more like siblings rather than cousins. But I guess there's not too much of a difference between that. I don't know. It just gets a little overbearing sometimes.
And the thing is, back then, maybe they didn't have enough resources like they did now. They probably did like a whole study on like brother, sister, cousin type relationships and what's acceptable and how do they perform and act, and might have actually done a study on it. Whereas, early on when the first series came out, they're like, hey, what do you guys remember about your interaction with like your little sister or your cousin? And they just kind of say, go with that, or they weren't too worried about the authenticity of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah, like today, like all of that stuff matters, and people take it that much seriously because it contributes to how they feel about, let's say, toys, and which one would I buy? Who's my favorite character? I don't know. Gwen's not that nice to Ben all the time, so I think I might not buy any Gwen figures. Or they're both cool, so I buy a package deal if it was available.
That's true. Speaking of favorites, what would obvious question for any Ben 10 fan? What are your favorite? Well, what's your number one favorite alien? And if you can't decide, or you can decide, but you still have smaller ones, what fill up the runner-up spaces for you personally? Original series only.
Original series only. I'm glad you just threw that one out there. You really shook me up because I was just thinking about one. Okay, let's see. For the original series, man, because there was a restriction right at the beginning, and when Cannonball was introduced, I know I was like, so another alien, 11. So I wouldn't like to. He just had the most influence because he was like the first extra. He seems kind of useless now, but it was cool.
Yeah,
I agree with
Cannonball
that.
for me.
I see that.
Cool. What about you?
My favorite. I think everyone who knows me is Upgrade. I love Upgrade with all my heart. He's my absolute.
I hope to die.
A long time ago, he was actually most things that I did. The Omniverse.
Crap! Hold up.
The
The live stream went offline again.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Damn
You know
it.
what?
It says we're live.
We're live.
It's going in.
Howdy,
now.
howdy. Yeah. Let's see how it does. And we'll edit this out later.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit this one. All right, it says we're live again. Yeah, so after this stream is done, I'm gonna have to because it's gonna create 3 separate videos now. So I'm gonna have to make them all private, download them all, combine them in Premiere, and put them back.
Oh darn.
Yeah, it says live stream right now on my monitor, but I'm looking at the other computer and it doesn't say it's live.
Hey, can you screen share so I can watch your OBS?
Yeah.
Thank you.
See this?
Yeah, I see it.
Should I stop it and start it? Last time I didn't stop and start. I did it.
All right. You see at the bottom, you can see how many frames it's dropped and if it's live or not.
Yep.
And you should try to pay attention to that. Maybe you'll see.
Okay.
What happens.
Let's figure all this out.
Yeah.
Man, every time I stream, there's gotta be something.
Yeah, but man, it hasn't been this bad.
It's like bad karma. I mean, is it? Should we just
He says what?
Should we just try this again sometime else? Or
Yeah, I think maybe we should sometime else. You take a look at your router situation. We run some test live streams, and if all else fails, it has to be some of those things. And all you'll just record this via OBS and upload.
oh well.
What do I do with that? All right. Oh yeah, dude, you were live. I was wondering
live.
when you were gonna stop it. You even kept going after I started giving the
Try
estimate.
again.
Just hit the stop streaming button, buddy.
I did hit the stop streaming, and now I don't know what's going on. I really don't.
Just do it on OBS.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start recording on OBS, and I'm just gonna mash the files together. So those of you watching live, this is gonna be a very interesting time. The final edited version will be a lot better, because there won't be all of this. So, Alex, do you even remember the point you were trying to make last time?
We were just talking about
You said
favorite
your
aliens.
alien was Upgrade.
Yeah, loved Upgrade since I was a kid. I thought his design was really cool. Very underappreciated alien.
What about
That's about it.
any other aliens you guys want to give a shout out to?
My second fave was definitely either Heat Blast or Diamond Head. Obviously, those are the most popular ones. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I definitely feel Heat Blast. In fact, I try to not pick the Heat Blast as my favorite. Heat Blast is my favorite. Let me get that out the way. Just because it's kind of like you can't choose Pikachu as your favorite Pokemon. You can't choose the main character as your own. But you know what? Screw it. It's just something about Heat Blast. He really gets to me.
Yeah. I also like Ghost Freak.
Ghost Freak was cool.
Ghost Freak was really cool.
He was creepy in all the right ways. I was really upset that they kind of got rid of him. But I did think it was interesting. But I kind of feel like they just went straight to him being evil and like having no other sort of motive as to why he's evil. He just was.
He just
Um,
was.
I like it when a villain kind of has like more depth than that. Like Vilgax, I can kind of like I can dismiss. Like that's fine if you want to have like a full on like evil because he's evil sort of character. But having them all just be evil for the sake of being evil is just it just gets old. Um, I feel like Zscare or whatever you want to call him. Um, I feel like they could have added this I suppose sympathetic sort of look at him because being stuck in like basically like a prison alone for the rest of your life, or what you think maybe the rest of your life, is sort of psychologically breaking, and it'd be kind of funny to see a scary character be scared of being locked away.
Mhm.
That's true. They could have gone a couple of different directions with that. I can see writers a lot of playing that to, oh well, this is a kids show. Like I don't think kids would understand this. But one quote I remember it was on one of the Dwayne McDuffie's forums is kids are very smart, like smarter than they think. And like me being an adult now, I try to think of writing a complicated script and being like, oh, this kid's not gonna understand it. But I think like back to when I was a kid, and I really would have. So I feel like if the writers were just kind of branch out of their, oh well, it's a kids show, we got to keep things simple rule, they would really be able to like elaborate on their world building more, sort of like what Alien Force did. Alien
Yeah.
Force did a little bit more world building, but they kind of pulled back in not Omniverse, sorry, Ultimate Alien, but we'll get to that later.
Mhm.
um, what key points really come to mind when you just even think of the classic series for you? Like what's something definitive about it in your perspective?
When Ben went to the future and met Ben 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like, you know how they do the one shots like that and you have to leave it alone. They never visit it again. But then they did it again in Ken 10 and it was even better.
Yeah,
Oh
It
yeah.
was just
absolutely.
like they put an actual timeline to the story. You know, when you see the original Ben 10K, he's younger, there's, slick back hair and everything. And then when you go to the future, he's got gray in his hair. He
Yeah,
looks more, gristly. And I just really like the fact that you can see the same character in the future develop in the future. And, it was just a pretty cool concept from like taking being a hero really seriously and not joking around anymore when we've just been watching, kid Ben fuck around all summer. So, I mean,
yeah,
sorry, my cursing.
That's true. I never really thought about that. Like usually when shows do like that whole alternate future kind of thing, they never really revisit it again, like at all, or like
yeah,
even mention it. They'll never be like, hey, you remember that one time we went to the future? Like they won't even talk about it. But Ben 10 did Ultimate Alien. They were like, yeah, you're that jerk from the future.
Yep.
It's great. Would you say that future was good enough to sacrifice everything that came from Alien Force onward to compensate? Be like, none of that happened, and whatever would have happened after the original series would have led up to that future. Like, do you feel like it was that good, or do you like the whole Kevin turning good and all that?
The thing is, I actually did enjoy the Kevin turning good, and man, it's just it was easy to explain. Now that you see Ultimate Alien, Alien Force, but before it was like, oh yeah, screw that guy Kevin, he was hella evil.
I
Uh,
agree.
but to get rid of the original one in favor of the others, they were really cool as far as story development goes, like Ben being president and knowing Magic or Ben 10K, best being Ben 10K, with the by Omnitrix.
Yeah,
But I really would rather prefer the original series future.
Would you still have Kevin turn good, and then like
Would
eventually
I
turn
still?
evil again, or would you just not have him good at all? Like that didn't even happen.
I feel like him being good was big character development on Gwen's part, and I think she needs that. Who know? She could have had another love interest or character, but it's just a dynamic of, yeah, bad, good. I trust them, because it's boy girl type thing. But turn evil or turn good at the end, I would rather. It'd be okay if he turned good, but maybe not stay good as long as he did.
Oh, you know what? That's actually a good point for the Alien Force stream. A fact that I was gonna elaborate on. Well, I might as well mention now since I just mentioned it now. The original, I think I told you guys personally about this, but for the sake of the stream, there was originally plans for Alien Force Season 3 for Kevin to turn evil again, and there would be this whole arc about, like, how they trusted him, and he just turned back to his old ways, and Kevin might mutate again, and it was going to be, like, very, like, emotionally jarring and dramatic. I heard of this off of one of Dwayne McDuffie's forums, but since his passing and the website was taken down, I can't go back and find the article. So a lot of what I'm saying is like hazy memory, but I just remember Dwayne saying what they had planned was too. I don't know if he said the word dark. It was like it was too much. It wasn't what the network was comfortable with showing. So they made them redo the entire season 3 of Alien Force from scratch and just didn't touch a point.
Oh yeah,
and that's why season 3 of Alien Force is just so like
rushed and sort of all over the place.
Yeah. Because it was rushed. They just threw it together.
Which is really sad because AF honestly is a really good continuation.
It does. I've been done this picture Cannonbolt, by the way. Now I'm just kind of like messing around with the effects for the sake of the live stream. But for his official art, he's done. I'm gonna take all these fancy effects off afterwards. But
and it's super shading.
One thing that I was thinking, yeah, I know, right? I really liked how in Ben 10, the classic one, it really like had an element of mystery to everything. Like it wasn't just all aliens.
Yeah.
Like there was those wrestlers, the crocodile and the
prickly dude.
Yeah, you never find out what they were. They were just dudes, and something about that just like really stuck to me. Or Kevin was a mutant, or Hex did magic. It really had like something for everything.
Absolutely.
Or even the ones that did involve aliens, but like when Ben first met Tetrax in 6-6.
Yeah.
That was good. That was I believe that was the first time in the series he like saw a transformation, like someone he could turn into that wasn't him, like another Diamond Head.
Yeah, Petro Sapien.
I love Tetrax. He was my favorite like new alien character we got to see.
And his voice was so deep.
If you actually go back and like, I think my friend Karth, I think he did like an edited version where he like reversed the audio and everything, and the guy's real voice is nothing like, it doesn't sound at all like deep or anything. It's just so weird how much effect that they have to put on the voice.
Is Tetrax also voiced by the guy who did Diamond Head, Jim Ward?
I don't think so. I think he's voiced by another guy.
Because when I first saw those episodes, I thought it was literally the same voice actor. Because, I mean, Tetrax in the original series looks exactly the same as Diamond Head. So I thought, like, I guess it was
he does.
Initial impression saying they'd sound similar, too.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, what would you say was some of the best voice actors in the original series? Like, who really, like, got into their character?
That's a good question.
Well, let's start with the basics. How do you feel about Tara Strong as Ben?
I think at the time she was really, really good. Like, Tara had a really good way of sounding like an adolescent boy.
Do you think her performance doesn't like last? Like, looking back at it now.
See, I don't want to insult her or anything. I think it plays more into the dialogue that they're given. I don't think she's a bad performer. I think she's really good at what she does. She's very talented. I just think that some of the dialogue could have used it. It's just that, it's just what they have to say. And sometimes I don't think the casting director really gave them the right like emotion for the scene. Like that was kind of prominent in like Secret of the Omnitrix. Like some moments you can tell are supposed to be really deep and meaningful and serious and tense, but sometimes the voice acting didn't necessarily like match up with that to me at some moments.
not really voice acting, but that's exactly how I felt with Race Against Time, especially the scene with Gwen trying to convince Ben Eon to come back. Really, one of those typical "I know you're in there" kind of scenes, but like it was just.
Yeah.
It's like that was the first take. Like she just freshly like memorized her lines, and they were just like, let's just do this scene and get back to the CGI aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, the crappy CGI.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the CGI in that movie, it wasn't necessarily bad if you think about it like as its own thing, but because they were trying to like make like established characters, like people had their own interpretations of how they were going to look, how they were going to act, and it just wasn't what anybody thought or wanted. Especially Diamond Head. I don't know, just something about the way he looked in Race Against Time really just didn't seem like that's how Diamond Head would look like in real life.
Yeah. I believe, funny enough, that was Cosmo's voice actor from Fairly Odd Parents.
Yep, that was Dan Norris as Diamond Head. Which makes no sense. Like, why would they get different voices for the movie? Like that has to be done on purpose. There's no way they couldn't get them.
Nuh-uh.
Why would they do that on purpose though? That makes no sense.
I feel like it's because maybe their excuse would be something like, oh, I don't know, it's I mean, if the voices of the main characters are different and they're played by different people, why can't we get different people to play the aliens? It's like there's no point in doing that.
That's literally making yourself pay more money for something nobody wants.
Basically.
And he said, yo, man, you want to go watch the new Ben 10 movie? Yeah, well, nobody has the same voice. Not even the same people. Huh?
Yeah, the whole the writing crew, they're not a part of it either. Wait, what? Yeah, it's completely different, and it doesn't count as, like, actual canon. Great. Yay, good to know.
Ben
10.
Yay, Ben 10. It was basically the whole series. Hey guys, we're fucking you over, huh? Benton.
You know what? Really, a great thing that came from the movie though, the cover of the theme song.
Oh yeah.
That was an awesome cover.
That was.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it also did bring Eon, which was really what led to the comics. So we have to thank Race Against Time for Eon.
See, I was gonna say, I feel like Christian. I don't know how to say his last name. Ashholt or something. Whoever, no, not like that. Whoever played Eon, he really he seemed out of place because of how good he was. Actually, like it almost made it seem like he was overacting, like almost ridiculous. But if you think about it, he was perfect. It's just everybody else's lackluster performance made him stand out and made him look ridiculous. But he really gave it his all. And if everybody else was on par with him, and it kind of like put the movie in a slightly more, I don't want to say like realistic and gritty, but I mean it really does come down to that. If they try to like give it a little bit more realism, they could have done a lot more. So I believe that's all I can really say about the original series. That's the thing. Like, it's so memorable, and people consider it the best, and it's the foundation of everything that came afterwards. But when you think about it, it's very basic. It was very episodic. There wasn't a lot of story arcs. The ones that did, they would last like, I think the longest story arc was the Ghost Freak arc, and that was only like 4 or 5 episodes, and that was spread out. Like, Omniverse did that a lot too. Like every season, there would only be like 3 episodes that mattered, and the others were filler. But anyway, I guess we can start taking some questions now. Feel free to.
Oh wait, I have one more question. I think we'll be good.
You go.
All right, guys. If you could change anything from the original series, what would you change?
Ooh.
Story-wise, alien-wise, anything, changing a certain character's decision and going off of that in a tangent, or adding a whole new event entirely, what would you change?
Well, see,
good question.
The thing is, when you ask something like that, a change we could answer could affect like all of Ben 10 entirely, because everything that comes afterwards has to be built on what was there. I mean, not really, because people just ignore the continuity.
Right? Let's just say this. Just that would change the ending of Ben 10, like the original series, of what we know happens at the end, not knowing Alien Force or anything else was coming.
I mean, a generalization, I would just try to make. I would just. I'm trying to think of how I would word this, because it's really like a bunch of stuff, but I feel like I can categorize it under one thing. I would have just given it more foundation. It felt very empty, almost. Like, it was very thrilling. It was incredible. I loved it. It was my favorite show as a kid, but I feel like it could have been something more. Like, I wish it got pushed a little bit further. Like, the stakes were up. The fights felt like Ben actually can lose. He can get hurt. There's consequences. And sometimes it did feel like that, but it still just felt like the original series was meant to be entertaining rather than telling a compelling story. I probably would have tried to tell a little bit more compelling stories in the original series.
Yeah. I'd probably change... yeah, I think I would go with that. I think I would just really raise the stakes higher and just make sure, just not make it like super itty gritty and like edgy or whatever, but really make it as though like these characters can get into some serious trouble and they're not always going to be able to make it out unscathed, you know? I think I would bring back the -10, maybe, for another arc or something, like something that would go on, and maybe that could lead, that could possibly kind of lead to, like, maybe AF, where Ben has to make the decision if he wants to continue being a hero, because I kind of thought of it like, what if the -10 go after Ben's like entire family? But then again, they kind of did that with that apparently non-canon episode where Vilgax, so long and good riddance, I think it was.
Goodbye and good riddance.
Goodbye and good riddance, my bad. Where Vilgax kind of goes after Ben's family. I kind of wish that was a little bit more serious, because it just didn't feel that way. It didn't really feel like a proper send-off either. I probably would have done it a little bit different. I definitely wouldn't have had Ben's secret identity exposed or anything.
What about you, Hurshie?
Personally, I feel like I would like to see maybe it taking a different course during at the end of the summer. How like, oh yeah, that was summer vacation. Like, what if he was like, hey Grandpa Max, hey Gwen, screw school. I want to be a full-time hero. No going back. I want to learn this, whatever this is, go on adventures and do everything else. And I just, that would have been surprising. But I don't think surprising at the time, but, surprising to think of now that, he didn't just put it down or, go through school normally. It's just maybe if he became famous sooner.
Mm.
I like how you guys have two different directions with where you want to go. Yeah, it just, I guess overall Ben 10 was a fantastic show, but it felt like a lot of wasted opportunities. Like, especially of us as kids, like, already thinking of ways. No, I don't want to say to do it better. Everybody thinks like, oh, I could do it better. But I mean, like, just generally obvious things that just could have made the show better. I'm just editing this picture of an Omnitrix right now to try to keep things going. I don't really know what to do. But yeah, I guess we'll, unless you guys have some final thoughts, we can try to take some questions now. You guys, how do you guys
I'm
feel?
ready for questions.
Ready for
when
questions?
Nearing a certain time for.
Yep.
All right, let's get some questions going. If anybody has any, you can ask questions about our opinions on Ben 10. You can ask questions about 5 years later. The only things I would like to say is, one, do not ask about who will appear in 5 years later. Do not ask when another chapter is coming out, and that's all I can really think of. Honestly, those are the two big ones. Like, just, I'm not gonna ruin the story at all, ever. Like, that would defeat the whole purpose of making the comic. But anything else? Someone says thoughts on Camp Fear. How do you guys feel about that? That's the episode Wildvine showed up.
I liked it. That was fine. I would kind of like to know where, like, the big spore plant thing came from, and if that would ever return, or if that's even an alien or anything.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't really have much thoughts on it, honestly. I feel like I
Me
should
neither.
because like that's Wildvine's debut, but
But nothing really happens
yeah,
like besides that.
that's that's it. It just goes back to the original series' big problem is it never led up to something. There was not after Vilgax, it never led up to anything. Like they're like, oh
Yeah.
well, we did Vilgax. What do we do now? And just that's it.
I see a question, Kuro. What do you think about Omniverse? Hey guys, this is a section off by series. Right now, this has only been 10 classic questions and whatnot, unless it's 5 years later related, which
Yeah.
is
Sorry.
allowed. So
Sorry about that.
Favorite aliens on a scale of 1 to 10? I don't really know how to answer that. Like, do we rate every single alien?
every single one,
No, he's talking about. I'm almost certain he's talking about like
a
the
top 10.
original, like the original 10.
Yeah, ranked
From
in
like
order.
who do you think's the best? Best like worst to best.
Yeah.
Like, best as in best or favorite or most powerful? Like, how are we
Like
categorizing?
I think he just means like a top 10, just a top 10. Your number one being your best one.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I hate to be that guy. I mean, when I talk about Ben 10, I sound like one of those basic fans, but I guess I've become such a hardcore fan. I've looped around to being a basic one. I really just didn't really enjoy Gray Matter, the original series. Like, I want to respect him and what he has to the team and be like, Ben
Yeah.
doesn't always go straight. No, Ben doesn't always go straight to the fighter aliens and wants to think things out. Like, I get that. That's a good lesson to learn, but it's just I didn't like watching him on screen. He didn't really do anything interesting. He'd show up, he'd say some smart stuff, and he'd either run or build something, and then time out.
Yeah.
Hey, oh, he talking about when Ben's in an awkward space, so he looks big in it.
It was
I was, and they also treated what's his name, Richard Horvitz, the voice actor. They kind of didn't use him properly. Like Richard's a talented voice actor. I don't know why they didn't get him more often or continuously put him, in the future series. But I mean, hey, that's a tough.
what's your favorite Ben 10
Someone
episode?
says.
Oh no, you do your question first.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. Someone said. Sorry. Do you think Ben 10 as a series didn't handle the magical element very well?
No, but I think we already talked about that.
I don't think so. No.
I mean, the fact that they went into it at all, like, was something. I feel like they didn't have to go hugely into it because it was a new concept. You didn't know when it was gonna end. But I just feel like in the first series it was done all right as a new object to include Gwen and and more than talk, like she can actually help. I think they took it as far as they could, and if it ended right there and we knew nothing more, I wouldn't be mad. Like, hey guys, there's aliens. Surprise, there's magic too. So yeah.
Kind of would have liked just a little bit more element, just anything other than just aliens. Like I get that's the concept of the show, but you got to kind of switch it up. For interesting is all.
What
Just add more to the world.
This is just a personal question I just thought of. We got mutants, we got magic, we got time travel, and a few others. Evil scientists. What kind of, not cliche, but like typical like sci-fi trait would you have added to Ben 10 that it didn't already have? Like I don't know, zombies. They didn't have zombies. They don't need zombies though.
The undead, yeah. Nah, because I mean, if you think about it, the zombies would just be like probably like a factor from someone messing with magic or something.
Oh, some guy says, how far into
They didn't
production
have
is Chapter
superheroes.
5?
They're not.
Is that something you feel like we should answer?
I mean, what are they gonna really do with that? I think it's a nice question to
I mean, I post about
answer
it
just
on
for
Discord
here.
all the time. Yeah, Chapter 5, everything's scripted. All the designs have been made. It's really just me drawing it now and putting it all together. I've currently made 10 or 11 full color pages, like completed, like ready to upload already. It's going to be longer. I can't really tell until I'm almost done. It's going to be longer than chapters 1 and 3 for sure. It might be shorter or just as long as chapters 1 and, did I say 1 and 3? No, whichever the short ones. It's gonna be longer than 2 and 4. Those are the short ones. It's gonna be longer than 2 and 4. Possibly shorter or just as long as 1 and 3.
Someone, Fantasy Connect says Zombozo, really a zombie clown. Kind of, he's both a zombie clown and he's sort of like an energy vampire. He's like a weird mix. They didn't really depth of what he actually was. In Omniverse, they clearly made him more zombie than energy vampire, but original series is what we're talking about. Also, two people asked the same question. What was your favorite story arc in Ben 10?
What story arc?
all of 2.
One that lasted.
Well, I like Ziscare because then we got all the Aner Transl aliens after that.
That's true.
And plus, Ghost Freak is just awesome in general. So, another person asked, "Did you like the art styles?"
The what?
Did you like the art style of the original series?
Oh yeah, it had the best art style.
Yeah, absolutely. Out of all of them, Tom Perkins did an amazing job designing a lot of the aliens. And I wish I remember the other ones. My friend Matt told me all of them, but everyone else on that crew did an amazing job with the designs.
It's like this point I keep making. The aliens in the classic series, I'm pulling up a picture right now actually felt alien. Like a problem every series afterwards, Alien Force, Ultimate Alien, and Omniverse, is they would give aliens such like human-like proportions. Like, look at this picture of Waybig in the classic series, like how disproportionate his thighs are. You can kind of chalk that off to the angle he's taken at. Let me do a better example.
True.
You know, Eye Guy. Right here in the original series, he's like got a very impossibly small waist. He's got barely any palms. His hands droop down super low. He just looks all like odd. His shoulder blends into his pecs right here. And Omniverse Eye Guy just looks like a buff human. They take out all the alien aspects.
I think same goes for like I feel like Waybig's design gradually went down from what was it, Ultimate Alien that he came back in?
Yep.
So it was Ultimate Alien, and then Omniverse sort of kind of gave him like a weird proportion, but I feel like that was just the style they went with because he's kind of got this weird slouch. And I already see what you're pulling up. Yeah, Ziscare.
Yeah, look at that.
Very big downgrade.
Indented like shoulder right here. Look how long that hand is. It's very disproportionate and felt very alien. And then we got Omniverse Ghost Freak here. It's just, they don't look like aliens anymore. They don't, right here especially. In fact, he was worse than Ultimate Alien. He's all slimmed out. He's all correct.
Look, I'll defend Omniverse a lot because I loved it, but yeah, I did not like Ziscare's redesign on that. Let me look through another question I thought was interesting. Which was a better villain for Ben, Kevin 11, or Vilgax? I'd say Vilgax. Well, you know what? I'll let you guys go.
I'm eating a burger. You can go.
Oh, what was the question?
It's which was a better villain for Ben, Kevin 11 or Vilgax?
Vilgax. God, Vilgax was terrifying. Kevin 11 was just like that douche you had to deal with sometimes. I mean, even after he super mutated and everything, he was still a threat. But Vilgax seemed like he was on a whole nother level, like way, way, way high when it comes to threat level. Who you should be worried about? Where is Vilgax?
Yeah. One person says, "What alien would you add to the series?" I'm assuming that's supposed to be like the original series, and like I guess they're asking like what future alien, like in Ultimate Alien or whatever, would appear in the original. I'd personally like to see either Atomics or maybe Big Chill. I think they'd be interesting.
Like young Ben getting Big Chill?
Yeah.
I can see that. I would like to see young Ben. I think he would really enjoy it or use. Let me think. You know what? Let's just pull up some
Don't say
Ben
it.
10 aliens. I'd like to see him use blocks.
No.
Well, I think if Tom Perkins and the rest of the guys from OS kind of did their own designs with it, I feel like it'd be a little bit better. I really like the gorilla aspect of blocks more than the actual like blocks part that he's all about. Like I get that his whole aesthetic is like a big toy, but I kind of like more organic stuff.
Hey, I'm
like
just gonna need you to know that best gorilla is Ultimate Spider Monkey, and best monkey is Spider Monkey. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I just want you to know that.
Of course.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Someone says, how did you guys react when Kevin showed up in the original series?
Oh, I don't even remember. I was really young.
It's when he met him at the arcade, right? And Kevin was cheating and stuff like that, and he found out. Oh, he thought he was cool at first, probably because he was older, and plus he was kind of like cause mischief like Ben. And then he slowly found out that oh no, he's just kind of evil, kind of bad.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the introduction to having different superpowered people that didn't need a device. Like they held some more power than Ben, meaning they could either be a really good adversary or a really bad villain. Bad in a good way, I mean.
What was your favorite episode?
Secrets, I believe. Isn't that the episode where Vilgax really shows up and Ben starts cycling through all of his aliens due to the ship or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Because I feel like they gave all the aliens like a really unique way to face off against the series' main villain in a funny yet really clever way.
Damn, you know what? I was going to say Secrets too, but I'm going to try to think of a different one now. Hershey, you got one?
Favorite episode?
Of the original series.
Of course, the Ken 10.
That was a good one, yeah.
Seeing Grandpa Max still be alive, like he's clearly lost a ton of weight since the old one and everything, and robotic arms and stuff. The fact that Ben's son Ken was, when he was with what's her name? I forget. But basically, yeah, the Indian girl. How he grew up, what kind of friends he had. I think one of the aliens kind of looked like Billy from Billy and Mandy, so I thought that was cool. And being given an Omnitrix on his first birthday, as is tradition.
His first birthday.
Well, my bad, not first.
Straight
birthday.
out the womb. 1-0. Humongous.
Straight out the womb.
Oh my god.
Straight out the womb, they slapped the Omnitrix on his wrist, broke his little baby arms. Get over it, sucker. We're going hero.
Throw him into a burning building. If you don't get all the people out, I'm disowning you.
Oh my god.
Oh yes, Kai, thank you.
Someone says, which Omnitrix control scheme is your favorite? The silhouettes from the original, the holograms from Alien Force, or the faces from Omniverse?
Holograms.
Damn. I kind of like the silhouettes because there's like a shred of mystery as to what they do. Like that was my favorite part of Omniverse, not Omniverse, sorry, of the original series, because it left a lot to the imagination as to what this one person can do, and you don't even know how big or small or how powerful they are. It's just what I like about them. What about you, Hirsch?
What was better, holograms or silhouettes?
Or the little face.
Well, oh yeah, oh god, little face thing is definitely not in there because it's just like I would be frustrated using this device. You're telling me it can do this, but all I get to see is their head. What's the rest of them look like? If I turn into this one, will I kill my family? Is it huge? Is it small? It's like, but the holograms gave you depth to it. You got to really analyze it, like how somebody who had just put on this watch again would have to do it in order to save his grandpa and things like that. Like you get to see, oh, this one's small. This one looks like this. What would this be for? So you can make better and clearer decisions. I think the silhouette is good for a kid, but best design is design you want to use all the time, and that's holograms.
That's true, because like my thing with the silhouette, like I kind of said, I kind of sort of defeated myself there. You don't know how big, how small, how powerful they are. You don't really know anything about them, at least you can see what they look like, and you can just sort of kind of guess from there. And plus, if you just did the blackened silhouettes where you can't see any definition, you could confuse it with the same position or something. Like, you don't know. It'll just give you the wrong one anyway. So, someone asks, how do you feel about the lack of Ripjaws in the OG series? I hated that. I used to like Ripjaws a lot.
Yeah, Rip Jaws was one of my favorite aliens when he was first, revealed. I was like, this was just really cool.
Because he's just a big old fish man, like a big
With a
swamp
giant mouth.
monster. Yeah, with a big mouth. You think he'd still be cool if like he sang like Billy Bass, like jump into water, like that?
Like every time he transforms.
It's just that swamp, dude. If they had Jim Cummings doing his like typical like swamp person voice, like Louisiana thing, I would laugh my ass off if that was actually what he sounded like. Granted, it wouldn't make sense, but Stripes maze.
Yeah, look at this.
It's the maze from The Shining. The Shining is confirmed for Chapter 6.
How long have we been live?
A while.
Hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, it's been an hour and 30 minutes.
It's been an hour and 30 minutes.
No, it's just been an hour. It's been an hour, man.
Well, I mean, I only wanted this to be an hour. I guess we can start wrapping things up. Maybe get 2 more questions. Any last thoughts you guys want to say?
Hey, Rob, could you, my bad, Kuro, could you show all the shirt designs that are available?
On my website? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go
just,
to kurothewebsite.com. Let's just say that one more time so people can hear this. You go to kurothewebsite.com. Please. You go to the store, you click that, and this is mobile friendly too. I had to reprogram the entire site to be mobile friendly also. We got this right here. These shirts are always here. We do temporary shirts that come out with every chapter 5 years later. I can let you see what some of those look like for fun.
If you see one that's not available, you can message the Facebook page and we can get it available for you.
Yeah, just message. Like, you can custom order these. Be like, hey, remember that Alien X shirt that Alex drew? That it's not up anymore, and I want one. So yeah, here you go. These shirts were temporary, but we can get them to you. And these are the shirts we're selling right now. You could get them. Let's take a look. I have the mouse pad in the phone case right now. You can get a couple of good stuff. A little self-promotion right here. And anything I draw has all these varieties too. So you can be like, Kuro, can you put like a hot dog inside of another hot dog on a shirt? And I'll be like,
That's called docking.
Docking? That's a real thing?
No.
No, man. What are you saying?
If there are children watching, please do not look that up.
Okay.
There's a question I thought was really interesting that me and Rob would probably like to answer. Let me see if I can find it again. Yikes. Where is it? It was just here, I swear. The 2 new aliens, Slingshot and Slampede. Which do you like better?
Do I like better?
I guess it goes to any of us. I don't know.
I'm trying to get this thing to load up.
I mean, we'd be kind of... Me and Rob would be kind of biased. Slingshot, and he designed Slampede. So, Hurshie, you're the tiebreaker.
Something about Slingshot I really like. I don't know. He seems like a Ben 10 alien, if that makes sense. I wouldn't call Slampede a filler alien, but he was there because I wanted more new transformations, and I really like the concept of how I put him together. But Slingshot really he seems to fit the bill. Like, I could actually see him appearing in the show. Little gummy action figure of him or something.
There's something simplistic about his design that I really liked. I wanted to go all out with him, but I like his slimplicity. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Yeah. Slamped. Yeah. Here's another. Kuro, Alex, and Hurshie, what do you think is the best Omni-enhanced transformation of the Ben 10 reboot? Okay, I'm sorry, we can't answer that right now, because we're not...
This is OG Ben only.
Yeah.
Not even.
Question: Is there a name for the alien? Is there a name for the alien above Slingshot?
Yeah, this is blocks.
Ooh.
This is the new blocks. I tried
New
toying around
blokes.
with the original color scheme, but for one, aliens like Edel and Shock Squatch had such incredible design overhauls. I thought it'd be fine, and plus, I don't really feel the need to pay respects to his original design because I hate it. So, this is 5 years later blocks.
Jesus. I think one that I like. Do you think it hurts for Ben to turn into aliens? Like he's literally changing his bone structure constantly.
I don't think so. I actually remember reading the transformation sequences are literally just aesthetics for the actual TV show. In real time, that's not actually what's happening. Ben transforms into an alien instantly. Those things are just for the audience to like admire and be like cool and help market the show, but the transformation sequences don't actually happen.
Fantastic DM says, Alex, do you have a YouTube channel? If you don't, do you want designs? I'm just not really big on the whole YouTube thing. I don't really think I can really do anything for that. I don't really do like streams where I draw or anything. I don't think I have anything interesting to say, so no, I have like personal stuff.
Right here we got I'm trying to pull it up right now, your DeviantArt. You can take a look at all of his designs there. Actually, making a YouTube channel for his designs doesn't really seem to make sense as their pictures. Here's a beautiful picture, Alex. Right? Is that a scar on your chin right here? What's this?
That's on my neck. That is a scar I got from surgery because I had a benign tumor in my neck that I had to get removed, and we were lucky that we found that because if it wasn't benign, it would have been a lot of trouble, to say the least, to have to deal with that. Someone else says, how do you feel about Anodites not having DNA, but other aliens having DNA when they have no business having DNA?
It's just so Ben can't get Gwen's powers. I mean, Ben has Alien X, so how do you get that DNA? Like, where does that come from?
That's what I always wondered.
It's just they just did that because they want Gwen to be special. I think they should have come up with a better.
They should have just, I don't know, kept it as
or they should have just been like, yeah, Ben can become an Anodite, but he doesn't want to because I don't know. So yeah, this is Alex's DeviantArt. I want to plug this in real quick because he does such incredible work for 5 years later. It's mostly Ben 10, so Ben 10 fans will have a good time. He's got some custom. I'm looking at some Steven Universe stuff. He has his own series. It doesn't have any official media for it right now, but you can see character designs. He's got this series called Tombstones. He's told me a lot about that I really enjoy. Hurshie really helps me a lot with the business side of things. I like to think of him as my manager. And he's involved in the story writing process, but he doesn't really have any like concrete media, unless like you. Is there anything you want to exploit right now while you got a chance, Hurshie?
Nothing that's ready for that. But thanks for the offer.
Of course.
More is coming soon. Something's coming soon.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good stopping point for the live stream, just because we don't want to get a little too overboard. But I feel like this was very good. We'll be tuning in with our off script number 2 podcast reviewing Alien Force. But for now, if you want to keep the discussion going, you can join the Discord. There's a link in the description. And you can also visit kurothewebsite.com to check out 5 years later, the comic all three of us work on. It's a crossover continuation with Danny Phantom set 5 years into the future. A lot of old villains and old characters come back, as well as a couple of new surprises, and I think it's something fans of both shows or neither show would enjoy. So yeah, thank you for being here for our first podcast. Thank you, Alex and Hurshie, for putting the time aside to be here. It's always good to talk to you guys.
Hey, Kuro, I want to try something. If you couldn't like end it so soon, I kind of want to try something else.
Yeah, what do you want to try?
Oh, just you have to give me a second. I have to find it.
Okay.
In
the meantime, let's take a look at some of Alex's DeviantArt here while we're waiting. This actually this little guy right here, if you've seen my 39 facts video, this guy makes